And welcome to At Issue. My name is H. Wayne Wilson. Thank you for joining us for the next half hour. We're going to have a discussion about the move that Caterpillar is making this year and into ensuing years as the world headquarters moves to the Chicagoland area. And we're going to find out what's staying in Peoria, what's moving, why that's happening. And to have that conversation, we welcome to the program Michelle Sullivan. Michelle is president of the Caterpillar Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Also with us is Henry Vickery. Henry is the Director of Guest and Community Relations for Caterpillar, and thank you as well for joining us.
Thank you, H. Appreciate it.
And my first questions will be directed to Henry, and we should start with, on January 31st, there was an announcement. What specifically was that?
Thanks for having us today, H. I really appreciate it. You know, Caterpillar has experienced some tough times over the last 4 or 5 years. We've had a very difficult business cycle. Because of that, we've reprioritized some of our investments, and one thing we decided to do was to not build our headquarters in Peoria. Difficult decision, but we really want to prioritize on profitable growth, putting investments toward people and products and customer solutions. So one thing we decided to do was not build our headquarters. The second piece of that was to look at putting a small footprint in Chicago that allows us to have the ability to invite world-class dealers and customers to our Chicago office up there, and also look at attraction and talent of world-class leaders.
And has a decision been made on where that location will be?
Not as of this moment. We're continuing to work on that.
Is that dependent upon being close to O'Hare? Is that part of the reason for the move?
There's a team, and there's a lot of factors that go into that, and that's one factor that we're looking at.
You already have a footprint in Chicago at the Merchandise Mart. Will that be affected?
No, I mean, that's our digital strategy office, and that's a group that is supported by George Taylor. That's a group that will continue.
Who made the decision to move?
Our outside board, and of course our CEO was fully invested in that decision as well. What we really want to separate is what this is and what it isn't. It's a small footprint in Chicago that allows about 200 or 300 people, when it's all done, to be able to have a facility up there that allows us to have the ability to bring in world-class people from all over the country, all over the world. Since 2012, about 2/3 of our sales and revenue have been from outside the United States. So it allows those folks to come in more easily. It also allows us to attract talent from around the world. So we'll have the best of both worlds in a way, H. We'll be able to attract global talent, but also promote still from within. And we've done that in the past, but it gives us a better opportunity to do so in the future. And then thirdly, the headquarters will be small, and it's still close to Peoria. We have 12,000 people here still in Peoria working, living, and playing, and that won't change.
So if I understand you correctly, it's easier to attract top-level talent to the Chicago area than it is to Peoria?
It can be, but it gives us the ability to attract that level of talent, global talent, but also be able to promote here from Peoria as well.
What is staying in Peoria?
If you look around the map of the Peoria area for Caterpillar, you look at a world-class logistics facility in Morton, staying. Our great foundry work that Gary Bevilacqua does out in Mapleton, that's staying. Our world-class research and development group in Mossville. Our chief technology officer, Gene Savage, that group's staying. We have 12,000 vibrant, great employees that are going to be staying in Peoria. The only thing that changes here is, in this tough environment, we're going to live in the house we have right now and not build a new shiny one. And two, we're putting 200 to 300 people in Chicago for the reasons I stated. Everything else is staying the same age.
Some individuals in Peoria are questioning when the process that ended with this decision started, because it was exactly 2 years ago that there was a big announcement. The governor is here, legislators are here. We've got all the graphics. You spent a lot of money to say new headquarters. You bought 6 city blocks, prime retail in the middle of downtown, and all of a sudden, in 2 years, all of that has completely changed. So When did the process start? I mean, when did you say, oops, we're not building the headquarters?
Nobody could have forecasted this downturn and this cycle of being as long as it has been. The board has discussed this for some time and made the decision. Our CEO was involved, but no one could have forecasted the ability for this cycle to last this long. We've had to make adjustments, and we've had to take investments and move them into profitable growth. And again, customers, people, dealer and customer solutions is really where we need to go. The important thing to remember is when we come out of this and Caterpillar gets stronger, I know it's tough to explain at this point, but when Caterpillar gets stronger, Peoria will benefit and prosper.
Let me turn to Michelle for a moment and talk a little bit about the atmosphere and how that impacts Central Illinois. There's a pall hanging over the community. First, there's layoffs, and those layoffs have been over a period of time. And then the announcement 2 years ago, hey, the headquarters are coming here. Well, at least the headquarters are going to stay. We've got a nice building. It's going to be the face of Peoria. And then this announcement on January 31st. There's an atmosphere, a pall hanging over the community.
Right.
What can you say to Peorians and to Central Illinoisans to allay the fears that this is just the excuse me, the fear is this is the first in the domino effect?
Well, as Henry said, no one forecasted a 5-year downturn. In our 90-plus years, we've never had a time like this. And so we've had to make adjustments. And also the times are changing even faster as time goes on. Everybody comments on the pace of change. And Caterpillar, in order to remain strong, has to make changes. And so we completely understand how people are feeling right now. But as Henry also said, when we start to see the downturn start to go to an upturn, you're going to see that everything else will start to feel better as well. There's a lot of reasons why people are feeling the way they are. Part of it is the announcement, part of it is the downturn of the company, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. And so we will come out of this stronger than ever. Caterpillar is still a strong company, but we do have to adjust to changes so that we remain profitable and that our financial situation remains as strong and better than it is today. We are a strong company.
You said that we're going to come out of this. Do you want to get out the crystal ball and say, are there any signs of when this might turn around?
Well, first of all, if we knew, we would be rich. I would tell you that. So obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but there are signs in the last corporate release of our announcement. There are, in the earnings announcement, there are some bright spots that appear, and we're hoping they continue. And with the political environment, there's a lot of decisions to be made that would benefit Caterpillar greatly as well. So we're watching and we're doing everything we can, to get, as we have in the last 5 years, we continue to run the business and try to make the best of the markets that we have. But we will come out of this, there's no question.
You mentioned earlier what's staying. East Peoria factories are staying?
Absolutely, yes.
Proving grounds?
We have world-class proving grounds, one of the best in the world. It's staying. Our Caterpillar Visitor Center welcomes 75,000 folks every year. It's staying. When people realize what this is and what it isn't, it's much more palatable, and we can continue to work with the community going forward. But that's what it is, H. It's a small strategic play in Chicago with 200 to 300 folks to welcome the world to Caterpillar. And it's close to Peoria, and it also allows us to attract and retain talent. Everything else, H, is the same right here in Peoria.
Is transportation part of this decision, in and out of O'Hare?
It certainly is a factor when you look at the way folks from global locations get in to see our facility, and it was one factor, yes.
Will those people on occasion be coming down here, though?
Absolutely. We expect many folks to still be joining us here. The Caterpillar Visitor Center will be vibrant. We already have plans to, again, welcome another 75,000 people next year. So we're not leaving Peoria. The 12,000 people here are happy to live, work, and play here. Most of the corporate functions will still be in the administration building. There'll be a certain few key functions that will be with our 9 or 10 offices in Chicago, but the lion's share of it will be still here in Peoria, even in the downtown complex.
About 12,000 people currently employed in the area. When the turnaround occurs, and I say when the turnaround occurs, that number will rise in Peoria?
We hope so. And we can never, like Michelle said, look into our crystal ball. We can't make exact promises. But every time Caterpillar has strengthened and prospered, Peoria has strengthened and prospered with it, and we hope and expect that to happen.
The old headquarters is staying. Any changes, anything going to change with that building or the AH building next to it?
Right. We're happy to live in that building that we're in now. There'll be improvements as we need to make them, but we're very happy. It's a great building. It's a strong building, and it's one that serves our purposes now. Of course, there'll be improvements as we move forward, but no major changes at this time.
What about the 6 blocks that you own in downtown Peoria, including a 10-story building, a 6-story building, et cetera? What are the prospects for that?
Our CEO and Caterpillar has been very clear on that. We want to work with the city and community leaders to find the best use for that. We want to be very flexible, and we're already working with community leaders to figure out how we grow that block. It's a great block. It's obviously one of the key blocks in Peoria for growth. We want to help the city extend their tax base, and we are working very feverishly with them right now.
There is some concern amongst citizens who follow Caterpillar that this will long-term impact Peoria in that the CEOs won't have been brought up through the Peoria system. Jim Umpleby, the new CEO, been here since 2013. Prior to that, overseas, San Diego. He started at Solar Turbines before Caterpillar owned Solar Turbines.
Yep, that's right.
The next CEO or the one after that, he or she may not have any ties to Peoria. So there's a concern in the community that we won't have that commitment from the very top like we've had with Glenn Barton and Jim Owens, et cetera.
Well, the commitment has always been all the Caterpillar employees and retirees as a whole. And even if they don't have or grown up in Peoria, the commitment to the hometown will remain because 12,000 people live here. And so when you look at the fulcrum of all the impact of the employees and retirees, both on being on boards, volunteering, philanthropy, using their resources and expertise, if you think about that as a whole, it's not one person that leaves the impact. It's all of us together, and that will remain. It's 12,000 people. It's not going to be one person impacts everything like that all the way down. We built from the bottom up. Everyone is involved in the community in the greater Peoria area from Caterpillar. You'd be hard-pressed to go to an organization and find where there's absolutely no one from Caterpillar, either volunteering, giving, or using their expertise in some way to help them. So we're very excited and will continue to give back to this community, just as we always have.
You mentioned philanthropy. Let's talk a little bit about the giving. The foundation, excuse me, the foundation historically has matched dollar for dollar employee and retiree donations to charitable causes. Will that continue into the future?
Well, it's not every year. It depends on the resources to the foundation. Caterpillar Incorporated is the sole funder into the foundation. And there is a correlation between the funding to the foundation with sales and revenue. So it's not dollar for dollar every single year. It depends on how the company is doing because that directly impacts the foundation. So we will continue to give. And because Peoria has 12,000 employees, a significant part of the budget goes to Peoria. And so that will continue. But again, there's a correlation between company revenue and the funding of the foundation. So we look at how that goes from year to year. And obviously in the last 5 years, it's been down because our revenues have been down. So our giving in different places all over, we adjust according to the funding of that year. So we will continue to give without a question. A significant portion of the budget goes to Peoria.
Was 2016 a dollar for dollar match?
It was a dollar for dollar match.
Even though sales are down?
Sales were down, right. And back in 2009, it was not a dollar for dollar match. And I can't remember every single year it's a dollar for dollar match, but we also look at how is the year going to pan out, because we do adjust to how the company is. At the beginning of the year, if we determine that the revenues are going to continue to decline, obviously the foundation has to adjust as well. But make no mistake, even when it's not a dollar for dollar match, it's a significant amount of money. It's in the millions.
It was several years ago that Caterpillar made an adjustment in the way they were contributing to worthy causes.
Right.
And Peoria didn't get quite as much as it used to.
Well, as we have a footprint around the world, we support where we have employees in those communities. So as our footprint grew, we obviously moved some money over to those communities as well, because we want the communities where we have facilities to be vibrant, just like we do in Peoria. So as revenues move around, the foundation adjusts as well. But Peoria has the biggest amount of the money on a percentage basis.
One of the concerns amongst the nonprofit organizations in the area is that there might be a withdrawal of some of the contributions. Let's use United Way as an example. They raised this most recent season $11.1 million. $5.7 million of that was Caterpillar employees, retirees, or your foundation that matched those dollars.
Right.
That's more than half.
It is.
There's some concern that that level of commitment might not continue. Can you reassure us?
Well, we always encourage everyone in the community to give, first of all. We don't want everybody to rely solely on our money, because that's not a healthy environment either. We want everyone to have a stake in the community. But make no mistake that we will continue to give. The employees, 12,000 are still here, so we do not anticipate a large drop. As a matter of fact, even in these last 5 years where the company has had some challenges with the business, our giving has risen up. So even though the company's down, the employees and retirees have been more than generous. We see no change in that. The Heart of Illinois United Way since 2004 has grown by 82%. Now across the nation, United Ways have on average gone down 2%. So as we go through our cyclical times, I would argue our giving has increased. So I'm not promising it'll increase, but I don't see a change in people giving because we announced a move in our footprint.
Let me turn back to Henry and pose the question of transparency. How transparent is Caterpillar going to be with the community as decisions are made in the future?
Our communication lines are open, and I work, and other top leaders work with the mayor and our county board chairman every week on these things. The issue with our announcement on January 31st, a couple things. It was very important for us to make that announcement and have the employees find out first before anybody else in the street. So it's very difficult to make the balance between how we tell the mayor and other folks while we also want to tell our employees. So we work with those folks every day, every week, and will continue in the future. And we tried our best before this announcement to bring those folks in on the same day and give that announcement to them while we're talking to our employees as well. There's no perfect way to do it, H, but that's the best that we could, best strategy we could come up with for that one. But then going forward, we are transparent and we work with our leaders every day.
The mayor was on this program a couple of weeks ago and said that he was notified about an hour before the public announcement. And his response to me was, I asked him, what was your initial response? And he said, stunned.
Yes.
Will there be any more stuns in the future?
I sure hope not. I was stunned. We were all stunned because it's important news for the community and Caterpillar going forward. But I go back to what I said before. Once we have a full discussion with our community leaders and explain our commitment to Peoria, this is still our hometown, and what we want to do in the future here, the conversation turns. And it turns into a more futuristic, positive outlook on how we can partner together and move the region forward. We were all shocked, but it doesn't mean it's bad news or good news. It gives us an opportunity in this community to come together and grow. As Caterpillar grows, Peoria will grow. Also, as the medical complex grows, Peoria will grow. As RLI and Maui Jim and those folks grow, Peoria will continue to grow. Now the conversation, you see it turning to, oh, I'm stunned, to what are we going to do about this now? And Caterpillar wants to be there as a perfect partner in that, just like we always have been. My work and our work with the Chamber of Commerce continues. My work with the EDC of Greater Peoria continues. The Downtown Development Corporation, all that continues. So that's not going away. It gives us an opportunity not to reinvent ourselves, but pick up the pieces from here and say, how do we grow Peoria? A big component of that is our 12,000 employees and how we move forward. A big component of that is making Caterpillar strong again, H. And the two decisions we made on not building our headquarters and putting a small footprint in Chicago is exactly that. They're strategic decisions our executive office made and our board made to grow and strengthen Caterpillar. When that happens, and I believe it will, that's going to help Peoria. As far as any other shocking news, H, the only thing I can tell you is I'm on the phone and our leaders are on the phone with our top leaders every week, H. We feel strongly about that because they're our partners and we want to continue for them to be our partners.
I might point out that the two companies you mentioned, RLI, Maui Jim, they have their world headquarters in Peoria.
They do.
And how do you describe the Peoria relationship in terms, after this year, Peoria will no longer be world headquarters for Caterpillar. So what do we call Peoria now?
Right. Certainly this is still our hometown. It's certainly the largest collection of employees in the world. And it's a very special place. One of the factors as to why we put that small footprint in Chicago versus other places was because it's close to our hometown. So it will continue to be very special. It will continue to be our hometown right here in Peoria.
Let me read a quote. This was to the Journal Star by Mr. Umpleby, the CEO. Peoria really will still be, in my view, the center of the universe for Caterpillar. But the world headquarters are going to be in Chicago area. But is that? Have you talked to Mr. Umpleby about this? Is that truly his commitment?
I have not personally talked to him since that quote, but when he says something like that, I absolutely believe it.
Have you had a chance to talk to him?
I have. He's a wonderful man, a wonderful leader, and he and the board and others are going to bring us out of this difficult business cycle. But Jim Umpleby, nor anybody else at Caterpillar, is leaving Peoria or turning our backs on Peoria. We want Peoria to grow as Caterpillar grows. These are tough decisions. They're strategic decisions. And it'll be up to us over the next few months and years to really partner with Peoria and help them not just understand, but help them grow with us.
The downturn that I assume the downturn led in part at least to this decision, the long-term downturn and the growth of overseas sales. But there were some other things that happened and the timing wasn't right. Caterpillar invested heavily in Bucyrus, a Milwaukee-based mining-oriented company. Mining went into the bucket, so to speak, immediately after that. So is Caterpillar recovering from those decisions, and will you be diversifying as opposed to investing in these cyclical industries?
Yeah, I mean, we feel like we're much more diversified certainly than we were even in the 80s and certainly the 90s. No one could have predicted the downturn in mining the way it has been and for the duration it's been. But to Michelle's point, we're strong, we're in a good position. We have #1 market share in many of these sectors, and we're prepared to take advantage of that when these markets turn. We just have to have the markets turn. Whether it's mining or whether it's construction industries or energy and transportation, Caterpillar, more than any other company, in my opinion, is poised to benefit from the upturn whenever that may be.
What final word might you offer to Central Illinois in terms of January 31st wasn't a good day for us? Can you reassure the citizens in some capacity?
Sure, when you think about what's happened since then, look at all the dialogue that has happened in the community, how they've come together, and they're thinking about how do we make Peoria even stronger? Caterpillar's still here. And how do we make it even stronger and really rally around all of us rally together to make the community better with 12,000 people still here from Caterpillar. We all have a vested interest to make this change be a positive one, and it's in our vested interest to make sure that the community remains strong. There's 12,000 people that want to make this work, and we will make it work just from Peoria. But all of Caterpillar wants Peoria to remain as strong as they have been. And as Caterpillar goes and the revenues go up, we will benefit even more in Peoria, as we have in the past. We're as strong as we are because of Caterpillar, and that will remain.
And with that, we have run out of time. And I want to say thank you very much to
thank you.
Michelle Sullivan, who is the president of the Caterpillar Foundation. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And also to Henry Vickery. Henry is the director of the Guest and Community Relations Division at Caterpillar. And thank you for joining us for the past half hour. Next week, we'll be back with another edition of At Issue. We'll be talking with the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Illinois, Evelyn Sanguinetti. Will talk to us about a task force that she headed up, a look at how local government consolidation might happen in the future. Join us for the next At Issue.